Hello, Jacksonites. Sorry, this is take 2. Whatever. It's just me now. Welcome back to my Godzilla re-review series. And today, I have a very special treat. So fucking finally. Today, I am discussing one of my absolute personal favorite Godzilla movies ever made. And and actually, in my opinion, might just want to be both one of my favorite kaiju movies, one of my favorite Godzilla movies, and just one of my favorite films in general. I love this movie so goddamn much, it's not even funny. Today, I am talking about, in my opinion, the masterpiece of a film, Godzilla vs. Mechagodzilla 2 from 1993, directed by Takao Okawara and produced by Shogo Tomiyama. Really? And written by Wataru Mimura. Good job, Wataru. So my history with... Hang on a sec. So my personal history with Godzilla vs. Mechagodzilla is this. This was the second Godzilla movie I ever owned on home video. The first, of course, was Godzilla vs. Gigan, which I got at a yard sale. I got this movie on VHS when I was about 6 or maybe 7 years old, when it was Christmas. And I watched this movie. Excuse me. And let me tell you something. I was absolutely fucking blown away by this movie. It's not even funny. I watched this movie so many times, again and 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 again. Surprisingly, I didn't drive my mom insane with how many times I watched this movie, but I watched this movie so many times, I'd be willing to bet that this is the one and only Godzilla movie I have watched maybe 100 times. I know this movie beat for beat. Oh my god, how much do I love this movie. And thankfully, a lot of other people seem to like this movie as well. I've never seen anybody come out and say that they think Godzilla vs. Mechagodzilla 2 is one of the worst Godzilla movies ever made. And I've yet to hear somebody say that Godzilla vs. Mechagodzilla 2 is one of their least favorite Godzilla movies. This movie seems to be generally well received and generally well liked. For good reason, in my eyes. So let's just get right into the plot of Godzilla vs. Mechagodzilla 2. In 1992, there's a lot of twos here, the United Nations has established the United Nations Godzilla Countermeasures Center. Rolls right off your tongue, don't it? Also known as the UNGCC, of course, in order to stop Godzilla. And the mechanical middle head of Mecha King Ghidorah is salvaged by the UNGCC's military branch, who call themselves G-Force, and is also reverse engineered to create 2 anti-Godzilla machines. The first being called Garuda, which is an aerial gunship. However, it was put to the side, seeing as its fighting capabilities were pretty limited. And also a mecha modeled after Godzilla that is, of course, named Mechagodzilla. And 2 years later, so this is 1994 at this point, on a mission to Adona Island how do they say it? Adna Island in the Bering Sea, a Japanese seemingly archaeologist or paleontologist team come across what they assume to be a large pteranodon egg, and the egg gives off a telepathic signal that attracts both Godzilla and Rodan, who is an adult pteranodon, irradiated by the nuclear waste on the island. Godzilla and Rodan get into the first fight of the movie, roughly about 15 minutes into the film. Pretty entertaining fight, if I say so myself. Thirsty. So by the end of the fight, Godzilla critically wounds Rodan during the ensuing fight, while the research team escape back to their helicopter with the egg. And it's taken to a research center in Kyoto, where it hatches and imprints on a young female scientist. And the research team concludes that the egg was left in the pteranodon nest with Rodan, similar to the brood parasitism displayed by European cuckoos. Godzilla appears in Japan, once again responding to Baby Godzilla's psychic call, and the JSDF mobilizes Mechagodzilla, which intercepts Godzilla as he is making his way to Kyoto, and the two have their first fight about a half hour into the movie. Mechagodzilla seemingly to have the upper hand until Godzilla disables Mechagodzilla by using a variant of his nuclear pulse attack. And Godzilla continues his search for Baby Godzilla, I'm just calling Baby. But the scientists, having discovered the telepathic link between the monsters, they shield Baby from Godzilla, and frustrated in the loss of losing his child, Godzilla destroys most of Kyoto before returning back to the sea. And tests on the baby that revealed that, like dinosaurs, it indeed does have a secondary brain in its hips that controls the animal's movement, namely in its legs and tail. And the UNGCC assumes that this is also true in Godzilla's case, and they decide to use Baby to bait Godzilla into a fight with Mechagodzilla. And the system known as G-Crusher is installed in Mechagodzilla's wrists, allowing the robot to penetrate Godzilla's hide and paralyze the monster from the waist down by destroying the secondary brain. And Miki Sagusa, again, appearing in another Godzilla movie, is ordered to become a part of Mechagodzilla's crew for this mission and locate Godzilla's spinal brain. However, she is reluctant to do so due to her own mental connection with Godzilla, which had been established previously in Godzilla vs. Biollante. However, she extremely reluctantly follows her orders. However, this plan backfires when Rodan, having survived his battle with Godzilla and is further mutated by radiation, responds to Baby's psychic call and morphs into Fire Rodan and intercepts the UNGCC transport and proceeds to go on a rampage. The UNGC is, of course, forced to send Mechagodzilla and Garuda after Rodan instead, and after a short but fairly entertaining battle, Rodan is mortally wounded, and a few moments afterwards, Godzilla shows up and attacks Mechagodzilla. However, when the two appear to be evenly matched, Mechagodzilla combines with Garuda and becomes Super Mechagodzilla, and then proceeds to lay the smackdown on Godzilla, utterly blowing him away with various beam attacks. Super Mechagodzilla then carries out the G-Crusher plan and successfully paralyzes Godzilla in the process. And suddenly, the dying Rodan, who is once again revived by Baby's call, begins flying towards Baby Godzilla, still thinking that Baby Godzilla is his own half-brother, is shot down by Mechagodzilla, crashing atop Godzilla. And Rodan's life force regenerates Godzilla's second brain and supercharging it, giving Godzilla an added boost of power, and of course, healing his brain and bringing him back to life. Now more unstoppable than before, Godzilla attacks and destroys Super Mechagodzilla, unleashing the high-powered red spiral atomic ray in an awesome, awesome spectacle. And after destroying Mechagodzilla, Godzilla finally locates Baby, who at first he is afraid of Godzilla. However, Miki Sagusa telepathically communicates with Baby and convinces him to go with Godzilla, and the two monsters head out to the sea, thus ending the film. So how about this plot? Just now realizing this, it does sound like a pretty simple plot, but for me, I love the structure of this plot. You have some exposition, you have some action, a little more exposition, a little more action, a lot more exposition, and then a lot more action. It's an even balance between action and downtime, as I like to call it. This is the way I like my movies to be structured. You have a very perfect balance between action and downtime. Perfect for my tastes. You may call me biased, my opinion towards this movie. I really don't give a fuck. I think this movie is perfectly structured. This movie's plot, to me, it's perfect. It has a fantastic sense of continuity with the rest of the series for the most part. Again, I'm not going to get into all of the continuity fuck-ups that King Ghidorah does to the series, mainly because Andres Perez did a better job at it than I ever could, and two, I just have absolutely no intention, desire, nor interest to elaborate on those plot continuity errors and retcons. Not to mention it'd be kind of infuriating. So, with all that said, let's get to the pros and the cons of Godzilla versus Mechagodzilla 2. Pro number one is that the human cast for this movie, with a couple exceptions, they're all absolutely fantastic. This is easily my favorite human cast of the Heisei Godzilla series, potentially of the entire franchise. I mean, it's got some competition with Final Wars, but I really do love this movie's cast. I think it is absolutely fantastic. Every single character gives it their all for their role. Masahiro Takashima as Kazuma Aoki, who is more or less the main character for this film. He's great. He's a little goofy. He's a little childish. However, it's clear that he's very intelligent. And he's not just like a no-nonsense military douchebag who is just this and that and just being a stern, no-nonsense asshole for the sake of being a stern, no-nonsense asshole. He is a military man in the sense that he knows when to look for the greater good in order to keep people safe. However, he also has a heart because he doesn't want to use Baby Godzilla as just a piece of bait to lure out Godzilla. He actually, he cares for the thing's well-being. And he actually refers to Baby Godzilla as Baby. Kazuma Aoki is awesome. Ryoko Sano as Azusa Gojo. She might be my all-time favorite female protagonist in any Godzilla movie ever made. Mainly just due to the fact of how well her relationship is with Baby Godzilla. You can tell so very clearly that she absolutely sorry. Anyway, what was I thinking? She's very committed to looking after Baby Godzilla. She treats Baby Godzilla as obviously she treats him as a pet, but I would also go on to debate that she treats Baby Godzilla like her own child. And Azusa just cares so much for Baby Godzilla over the time that they spend together. All the scenes that they spend together, they're truly heartwarming. It also does help that the special effects on Baby Godzilla are absolutely flawless, but I'll get to that in just a minute. Excuse me. Sorry. And it's also absolutely heartbreaking to see Baby Godzilla and Azusa finally part ways at the end of the movie. Because once again, the special effects for Baby Godzilla are so fucking fantastic. Um, Ryoko Sano absolutely kills it as Azusa. Highest praise. Absolute highest praise in this movie. I can't even begin to describe how much I love her performance in this movie. And I can't even begin to describe how much I truly mean that Azusa might just be my favorite female protagonist in a Godzilla movie ever. Hi, Ralph. Megumi Odaka as Miki Sagusa. I know I've bashed on Miki Sagusa in the past. I will continue to do so, especially in the next movie. But I can honestly say that I think Miki Sagusa is at her best in this film. She's not bitchy, she's not whiny, she's not useless, she's not underutilized, she's not in the way. Here she's executed, and she's actually executed quite well. She doesn't have that much screen time in the film, I will admit, but when she is on screen, you actually feel like she's there for a reason. And you actually feel like she's there to be a proactive member in the film's plot. So I definitely think Miki Sagusa is at her best in this movie. I'm not saying that because I have nostalgia goggles on this movie and I'm just used to her. I really do think that she is at her best in this movie. Oh God, she just takes a massive, massive nosedive downhill in the next movie. No Jurassic World Fallen Kingdom spoilers for me, please. If you spoil that movie for me, you will be blocked. I'm sorry. I can tell you that right now. No Rampage spoilers either. You will be blocked if you spoil the film for me. And the rest of the cast, they do a pretty good job. Yusuke Kawasu as Professor Omae, I think that's how you pronounce it. He's actually another one of my favorite professors in the Godzilla series because he's a man of science, but he's also a man of heart because he shows concern over Azusa and he shows concern for Baby Godzilla. And that makes me respect him more because he's not just a stereotypical scientist who is just only curious about the wonders of science and wonders of the world. He actually he has a heart and he has a brain and he has a personality and he has feelings. He is human after all. So Yusuke Kawasu as Professor Omae, he absolutely kills it as his role. I would have gone for a little more screen time with him interacting with Baby Godzilla, but hey, what we have here is still good enough for my taste. So Professor Omae is fantastic in this movie. Akira Nakao as General Aso, he's pretty good. He's a no-nonsense military badass asshole, but he's still fun to watch. Kenji Sahara's in this movie as Sagawa, and he does a pretty good job. Daijiro Hirata as Tokuya Sasaki, he does a good job. And Koichi Ueda as General Hyodo does a really fantastic job, in my opinion. All the human characters in this movie are absolutely fantastic. It's the exact opposite of the previous movie where all the human characters sucked. Here, they all are so good. So fucking good. Alrighty. Pro number 2 is that the pacing for this movie, like I said at the beginning, this movie is paced pitch fucking perfect. We have a bit of a kind of a slow but also kind of a quick not really rehash, but just like a quick rundown of previous events at the beginning of the movie. Then we have the scene on the island where we discover the Pteranodon egg and Godzilla's first fight with Rodan. It's pretty entertaining, and it's overall well paced. Then it slows down a little bit for us to explore the human characters a little more, and then we see Baby Godzilla hatch, and we get some character development there. Then we get Godzilla's rampage and his first fight with Mechagodzilla. That's all really entertaining. Then his post battle rampage where he fights with the military and goes through Kyoto. Then the movie slows down a lot more, and this is where we really start to get into our character development and also for the plan to execute Godzilla. And then we get into the final battle, which I think is damn near almost 40 minutes long. It's so goddamn entertaining. It's never rushed. It's never too slow. It's never too fast. It's, in my opinion, this movie is absolutely paced perfectly well. Cannot and will not give any complaints for this movie's pacing. Pro number 3 is that the English dub for this movie is perfect. I will admit I may be a little biased on that aspect because I grew up with this dub, but I genuinely do think that this may be one of the greatest Godzilla dubs I have ever listened to in my entire life. Probably second only to the Mothra vs. Godzilla English dub. Very, very solid English dub. There's no character that sounds forced. There's no character that sounds wooden. No character that sounds bland. Nothing. This English dub is absolutely perfect and is really not detracting from this movie whatsoever, in my opinion. There may be a couple slightly awkward lines here and there, but overall, I think this this English dub is absolutely flawless. Alrighty, so pro number 4 is the music score in this movie is absolutely fantastic. Akira Ifukube absolutely knocks it out of the motherfucking park for this movie. This is hands down my favorite Akira Ifukube score of all time. Very few kaiju movies, not just Godzilla movies, but kaiju movies in general, come even remotely close to this movie's score. Akira Ifukube absolutely lands it in this movie. Fantastic score. There's a lot of really classic Godzilla and Rodan themes that Ifukube brings into this movie. And Mechagodzilla's theme in this movie blows the 74 version out of the water. I can listen to Mechagodzilla's theme for this movie any day and just be completely content. Oh my god, I love this music. I love this music score so much. And remember when I said that Akira Ifukube made his music scores to fit what's happening on screen? This movie is the greatest example of that. Few examples. When Godzilla first appears from the ocean to fight Rodan, we hear the classic Godzilla theme when he arrives. When he arrives with a roar out of the ocean, we hear the classic Godzilla theme. And it's so awesome. Another example is during the fight with Rodan. Sorry, hang on. My legs are itching here. Is when Godzilla is buried under rock and he erupts from this rock and we hear the Godzilla theme play once again. Awesome scene. And I kind of feel like that may have been a callback to Mothra vs. Godzilla, speak of the devil. The theme that plays when Godzilla goes on his rampage through Kyoto, awesome music. Then, of course, there's Mechagodzilla's theme that plays when Mechagodzilla is being prepared to take off to intercept Godzilla. Then finally, the greatest music cue is when Mechagodzilla is brought back to life by Rodan and he gets his new powers and he enters the final stage of the fight with Mechagodzilla. Once again, we hear the classic Godzilla theme playing, and it is so awesome. You have lightning crashing from the sky. You have this gold glitter going all over the place. You have smoke and steam billowing all over the place. And you have Akira Ifukube's theme playing to absolutely enhance the scene. It is such a spectacle and glory to watch. You can't take your eyes off the screen. You absolutely can't take your eyes off the screen. Hands down, my favorite Akira Ifukube theme of all time. 1, 2, 3, 4. So, pro number 5 is the special effects in this movie are flawless. Almost. Admittedly, almost. But for me, the special effects are fucking astounding. The Mechagodzilla suit, first off, wait, no, I'll get to that in just a sec. Actually, before I get to special effects, the real pro number 5, I think, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Pro number 5 is Mechagodzilla himself. This is my favorite form of Mechagodzilla. Out of all the 3 that we've seen, Showa Mechagodzilla, Heisei Mechagodzilla, and Millennium Mechagodzilla, easily my favorite is the Heisei Mechagodzilla. I like the fact that this version of Mechagodzilla keeps to looking like Godzilla the most. Mechagodzilla 3 comes close. But I like the fact that of all the Mechagodzillas, this one looks like its organic doppelganger the most. Oh yeah, 5 Mechagodzillas technically, because there's the one in Ready Player One and the one in the new Godzilla anime movie. So okay, of the 5, but hands down, Mechagodzilla 2 is my favorite. I love his attacks. I love his roar. I love his look. The suit looks great. I feel bad for the guy who played him, because the actor's head was inside Mechagodzilla's neck, and his head and Mechagodzilla's head was right around here. It was such a bit of a pain in the ass to move around. But oh my god, the suit, it's not a suit. To me, it's not a suit. It's a robot. It is a real robot. I don't give a shit what you say. It's a real robot. It is so fucking great. Yeah, maybe. But still, I love this version of Mechagodzilla. I love his attacks. I actually like that he has a mouth beam and not eye lasers. Even though he does have eye lasers, his main attack is what's known as the Mega Buster, which is essentially like a artificial version of Godzilla's atomic breath. I love the plasma cannon that he shoots out of his stomach. You must not like the anime Mechagodzilla, huh? Whatever. So I love this version of Mechagodzilla. He's absolutely badass. He has a great theme, great roar. He looks fantastic. The effects for him are fantastic. This Mechagodzilla is so awesome. Technically it was, but you can barely see it. But anyway. So pro number 6, is the special effects. Like I said, the Mechagodzilla 2 suit looks fantastic. The Godzilla suit itself looks fantastic as well. This is also my favorite Heisei Godzilla design. I think this suit is absolutely flawless. It looks bulky, but also it looks perfectly muscular as well. The tail is perfect length. The perfect for the film looks amazing in my opinion. The arms look great. This Godzilla suit looks fan-freaking-tastic. I'm not sure if it is the one that they used in the previous movie. It very well might be. They may have just added a few touches here and there to improve it. You improved well. Absolutely well. Not to say that the suit in the previous movie looked bad, per se. Actually looked quite good, but I just think it looks way better in this movie. The optical beam effects for all the beams, lasers, and such, they all look great. Also for the Bill being Bill Wurster, I'm guessing, Justin. Anyway, the Godzilla suit for this movie looks fantastic. The tanks and jets, the optical lasers, all look great. I will admit there's a few scenes in the movie where I could see the strings on Garuda and Mechagodzilla and the tanks, which is one little issue I have, not with the movie, but with the Blu-ray. You'd think with an updated version they would digitally remove the strings, but no, I guess they were too fucking lazy to do that. But whatever. Um, the sets look great. I will admit, yes, Rodan doesn't. I like Rodan's design, but it's his execution that I don't like. He kind of reminds me of Gauss from the original Gamera series, whereas his wings are fixed in this one flapping motion. They don't bend and they don't move at all except up and down. And when he's flying, this is where Koichi Kawakida's flaws with flying kaiju really start to show, is that when his flying kaiju fly, they barely flap their wings. Destroy is probably the worst in his flying form. He doesn't flap his wings at all. This kind of looks like he's gliding around using anti-gravity. Though it is Destroya, so he may very well could be. But I like Rodan's design, though. It's just his execution that I really don't like. I still do like Rodan in this movie. He is a pretty decent monster in this movie. He's not useless like Anguirus was in Godzilla vs. Gigan. Much as I love that movie, I can't deny, yeah, Anguirus is pretty damn useless. So Rodan is well done in this movie. It's just his execution that could have been a little better. Koichi Kawakita never really got over his issues with flying kaiju. But overall, the special effects are fantastic. So, let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Pro number 7 is the monster battles are awesome. The first fight with Godzilla versus Rodan, it's a good start. It's a very good start. It wets our mouths, and it gives us a taste of what's to come. It's well choreographed. It's very well done. It's edited well. All the beam effects look great. There's flying sparks everywhere. There's dirt and dust being tossed everywhere. There's some kaiju blood being spit out. The fight is very well done. Godzilla's first fight with Mechagodzilla, awesome. Who's messaging me? Oh, never mind. It's awesome. Even though it some people may say it's just nothing but beam spamming. I like beam spamming. I like all the pretty colors and animated lasers. I'm all for it. Very entertaining and very well done. Rodan's fight with Mechagodzilla and Garuda, it's a little short. Actually, it's a little one-sided, but it still is entertaining. Then there's the final fight with Godzilla's second fight with Mechagodzilla 2. Yes, I know Patrick wrote that, and I have read it. I was very impressed, and I was very pleased with what he had to say with that article, Justin. And of course, the last monster fight, essentially taking up at least 35 minutes of the end of the movie, so goddamn entertaining. It never gets boring. It never gets stale. It never gets dull. No, wait, I'll save that for when I talk about Godzilla, but there's some things in that final fight that absolutely blew me away as a young one. Overall, the monster fights in this movie, they're the best of the entire Heisei series, in my opinion. There's some competition. The fight with Biollante at the end is pretty good. The fight with Space Godzilla, I also do like. Or the final fight with Space Godzilla, I also do like. And I guess the fight with Mecha King Ghidorah. Yes, I know he did. And also, I will admit, the final fight with Mecha King Ghidorah, even though it's pretty stale, it's kind of entertaining. But overall, the monster battles in this movie are so awesome. Pro number, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 is the military battles in this movie are also really entertaining. Even though there's actually, now that I think about it, there's only one. So the military fight in this movie is so entertaining. The JSDF actually put up a solid fight against Godzilla. They first send in the tanks, and they just bombard Godzilla with missiles. Then they send in the tanks, they start bombarding Godzilla with shells. And also, one thing about the special effects, too, is that the composite shots for this movie also look really, really, really good. Even though I will admit the Blu-ray does kind of ruin them a little bit. If you're not really paying attention, you don't really notice them. But the composite shots also look really well done. Again, I feel like they're a bit of a callback to Godzilla, Mothra versus Godzilla, um, with all the optical printer shots that were used in that movie. Thankfully, here they're nowhere near as dated as they were back in 1964. Um, the composite shots and the green screen effects for this movie look pretty damn solid. But the military fight against Godzilla, it's really entertaining. There's you have Akira Fukuba's military music coming in, and it's so great to listen to. Um, yes, but they're drawn out, but they're also very entertaining. So, who gives the goddamn? I don't. Sorry, hang on. So the military fight in this movie, it's very entertaining and it's so awesome. It's also well paced as well. It's not too long and it's not too short. It goes in, does its thing, gets out, boom, leaves you satisfied. And then the last pro that I have for this movie is Godzilla himself. Oh my god. Godzilla in this movie. This is easily my second favorite version of Godzilla of the entire franchise. And in some aspects, it does do a couple things a bit better than Final Wars Godzilla. Final Wars Godzilla will always be my favorite version of Godzilla. I'm just going to get that out of there right now. But Mechagodzilla 2 Godzilla, in a couple of ways, is better. Mainly due to the fact of the emotional and mental aspect of Godzilla for this movie. As badasses, these two are evenly matched. As unstoppable juggernauts, these two are absolutely evenly matched. But emotionally and mentally, I think this Godzilla has the edge over Final Wars Godzilla in my eyes. But let's talk about the couple badass moments. First off, we get beam lock in this movie, which I should have talked about the special effects, but actually I may as well get that out of the way too. This is also where we get our first beam clash. Now what that is when two opposing adversaries fire their respective beam attacks and the two beams clash in mid-air. I love beam clashes. I've always... Actually, wait, no. This isn't our first. This is our first beam clash since the original Godzilla vs. Mechagodzilla. So, excuse me. Another callback. I just now realized. So, the beam clash looks great. But the badass moments for Mechagodzilla is choking out Rodan when Rodan is pecking him in the face mercilessly. Badass number 2 moment is when Godzilla cripples Mechagodzilla and just shoves Mechagodzilla 2 out of his way to go crashing to the ground. And in the scene that blew my mind when I was a kid. The two moments that blew my mind as a kid. One is after the first beam clash, Mechagodzilla 2's system is starting to overheat and starting to crash. Godzilla beats down Mechagodzilla to his knees, lifts up Mechagodzilla, weighing 140,000 tons, moves him over, and then tosses him at least 100 meters away. An insane level of strength on Godzilla's part. And then, too, of course, is when Godzilla unleashes the red spiral atomic ray. Our first ever look at a red version of Godzilla's atomic breath. Ever. In 20 movies. Took 20 movies to get here. We finally get to see a red atomic breath. And it is so awesome. So awesome. I can't. And also, as Justin just said, Godzilla has the record amount of screen time. I think he's in the movie for roughly 35 minutes. in this movie. This movie, of course, being around an hour and 47 minutes. I think it's roughly around 35 to 38 minutes of screen time in this movie. Lots of Godzilla screen time. That may not sound like much, especially for the title character, but Godzilla has a lot of screen time in this movie. Whereas people complain about Godzilla not having a lot of screen time in 2014 and the previous movie, watch this movie if you want to see a lot of Godzilla screen time, and or Final Wars too, kind of. Um, so that's what I priority to. Overall, Godzilla himself in this movie, fantastic. This is the peak of Godzilla characterization, Godzilla badassery. Well, badassery is still Final Wars, but this is just the peak of Godzilla as a character overall. And I love Godzilla in this movie so much. He is so well done. So, with all of this great stuff to say about this movie, do I have any cons with Godzilla vs. Mechagodzilla 2? No. No. I got no cons. Got no problems. Yes, there's a couple aspects of the special effects that don't quite hold up, mainly the fact that you can see the strings in some shots, especially if you watch this movie on Blu-ray. I still say they should have digitally removed them for this Blu-ray release. But whatever. And yes, the Rodan puppet that they used, it showcases Koichi Kawakida's flaws as a special effects director, but still, I love this movie. Easily my favorite of the Heisei series, and is the one that I can watch again and again and again and again and again and again so many times, and I can never get bored with it. I can never get tired of it. It will never decrease as one of my absolute favorite Godzilla movies. I love this movie. It's got great special effects. My favorite Akira Ifukube score of all time. The human cast is great. The film's pacing is pitch perfect. The military fight is really entertaining. The monster battles are awesome. Mechagodzilla is Mechagodzilla. He's awesome. The dub is fantastic, and Godzilla himself is at his very best. Until Final Wars, that is. So with all that said, I am giving this movie a perfect solid 10 out of 10. I love this movie so goddamn much. I'm repeating myself at this point. I love this movie. I fucking love this movie. I highly recommend you not only watch this movie, but you introduce other people to this movie. Saying if you want to get into Godzilla, this is a good choice to start with. It does work well as a standalone movie. It while also filling you in on previous events for the most part. It leaves you entertained, and it leaves you with a happy feeling, and it leaves you feeling contented. This movie, in my eyes, is perfect. Absolutely perfect. 10 out of 10 rating. Can give it nothing else. So with all that said, post your motherfucking comments down below in the comment section. And let me know what you think. Hit the like button. Hit the subscribe button. Share this video with your friends. And look forward to tomorrow as I review a pretty contentious installment in the Godzilla franchise as a whole. When I reviewed 1994's Godzilla vs. Space Godzilla. Hopefully Sean will be able to join me for that, and hopefully the technical difficulties will not be around. Excuse me. And as always, go out and save a little reptile from being used as a pawn in a evil government bullshit scheme in order to reunite it with its ass-kicking 100-meter tall monster father. And I will see you guys in the next one.